You mentioned the third area of the strategic plan is technology, and we talked a little bit earlier about specific technology within the school, but also under that category is this thing called STEM that a lot of us have heard about: science, technology, engineering, and math, and really hearing a lot about that again in the media about those being the skills that our students really need to compete globally, as you mentioned earlier. Talk to us about your thoughts on STEM, some of the initiatives we have related to STEM in our school system, and where you'd like to see that go over the next several years.
We got a couple of initiatives already in place. Freeman runs an engineering school at the elementary level, and it's a lot of fun to watch those elementary kids interact in that environment. Gregory is our technology magnet in terms of the level of technology there is probably higher than a lot of our other schools. Williston's about to bring the iPad initiative on board with those students. The state of North Carolina has raised the graduation requirements for math. When you and I graduated high school, if we got out with Algebra 1, we were doing good. Now you can't walk out of high school, whether you're going to college or not, without Algebra 2 and a math beyond Algebra 2. That's the graduation requirement for anybody going workforce, military, 4-year college. So the university graduate entrance requirements are now in North Carolina the high school graduation requirements. So we've seen an increase there. But that said, I think there's some opportunities for some partnerships with where we're going. I think we have a 4-year university located here on the coast, and it runs one of the best marine biology programs out there. Why don't we have a partnership with the university where I've got high school kids in some kind of marine science academy? We've got the aquarium down there at Fort Fisher. Why don't we have students down there taking marine science courses as some part of some marine science academy program? Cape Fear Community College runs one of the best marine science programs at a community college level as well. We're not doing a good job partnering with them in terms of those kinds of partnerships. So I'd love to see us create some kind of maybe specialized program that partners with them and taps into those resources that are here.
Okay, great. I want to go to a couple questions in the audience. Kelly at table 8 and Stephanie at table 30. While they're getting microphones to them, I think this is just a great question. Help us understand a parent's responsibility for preparing a child for school.
The more you can do to have your child ready to walk into kindergarten, the better off we're going to be. You think about cognitively. Between 0 and 4, our children do a lot of cognitive development. We don't think about it, but they walk in with a certain number of words they know, with certain language skills. Those who are able to write their letters or recognize their name are so much farther ahead than other students. And it's as simple as reading to your child at home. What kind of print material is there in the schools? When I think about growing up, as my child growing up, we had the magnetic letters on the refrigerator. Those are just little things that a kid can see in the home. But if you walk into the homes of some of our most disadvantaged parents, if it's a single mother, there may not be a book in the house. There may not be a magazine in there. That mother may be working 2 jobs and doesn't have time to read to her kid. The more that we develop those kinds of cognitive skills at an early age, the better off the student's going to be. Because what happens is a kid will get to school, and if they get a great teacher, that great teacher is going to take that kid who struggles and really catch them up. But if they get a less than average teacher, well, you as a parent, if they've had a good home preparation, can overcome some of those deficiencies. But if you've got a kid who's coming in from a struggling environment and they get a weak teacher for 1 year, 2 years, they're not only behind, but then they fall farther and farther behind because they don't have that cognitive skill or what's at home to help them catch up. As a parent, know what's going on in your school. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I would tell you that problems are better solved at the school level than my office. I'll take your call and I'll answer your questions, but the principal and the teacher are the person who deals with your student every day. So be willing to have a conversation with those parents. And that's another struggle for some of our parents. They had bad school experiences. If you have a bad school experience, walking into that building can be intimidating for a lot of our parents. So we've got to do a good job with lessening some of that tension between our schools and our parents.
Why don't we start with Kelly at table 8?
Thank you. I have a question about differentiation. I have two children who have great experience in the New Hanover County school system, and we have benefited from the differentiation programs that you've had, everything from learning disabilities to academically gifted, and I know with the pending budget situation that some of those programs are in question. Can you address how you're going to continue to deliver those services?
We're going to continue to deliver those services. They're not going to go away. I mean, AIG, arts, special ed, all of those services, we will continue to deliver. Now, what's going to happen is they probably will not be delivered at the same level we've done in the past. We've been able, because of local funding, I give our county commissioners a lot of credit. Over the years, they've been very supportive of what we're doing in public education. And we've been able to fund, example, special ed, well above what the state minimums are for special education. We've been able to fund ESL, English as a Second Language program, well above what the state minimum requirements are because of the local funding that we've got. Now, we'll still be able to provide that funding at a level higher than the state level, but it is going to be a little more difficult, and the resources are going to be a little tighter as we head into this budget year. Folks, we're looking at a $15 million shortfall on our budget from the state. And the state gives us funds in a categorical method. They tell us we'll give you X number of dollars for teachers, X number of dollars for supplies, X number of dollars for this. The county dollars tend to be the most flexible dollars. They traditionally have not had restrictions in terms of which category I can spend them in. And so we've been very fortunate in that we've been able to use that. Our local dollars are funding over 600 positions in our county, and most of them at the school level. So if you see a county commissioner, thank them and tell them to keep supporting us.
All right, and Stephanie at table 30.
Good morning, Dr. Markley. Given what you just said about the budget shortfalls that we're going to be having, and some of the articles I've read from the Raleigh News and Observer about the Broad Superintendent training, what large-scale business partnerships or grants is our school system pursuing, and do we have any plans for a grant writer perhaps to work even on a contingency basis to help us secure those funds?
Well, short term, no. If you're asking me to choose between a grant writer and a classroom position, I'm choosing the classroom position. But we do grant writing across our board. Our public information office, as one of the many responsibilities, does some work with grant writing. Dr. Eddie West, the interim superintendent, who was to be prior to me, does some work for us with grant writing. He works with us on a consulting basis and has done some work there, and he's doing some things there. So right now, that grant work piece is sort of piecemealed out there. The partnerships, we're working with the chamber in terms of identifying some of those partnerships. We've got some large businesses here. I'd love to partner with them, but also the small businesses. I think oftentimes we think of partnerships as a big business picture piece, but a lot of our business here, a lot of you are in small business. And those are important partnerships for us as well. Now, the Broad Superintendent's Instrument is Broad's an organization out of San Diego. It is a large school system superintendency program, and they won't partner with a system like Wilmington because we don't fit their size criteria.
Tim, we're kind of running out of time, so just wanted to get any final thoughts or comments that you have or that you want to share with the audience today.
At the end of the day, the most important thing we do is we educate the kids in our school system. And to do that, I need the entire community. We got lots of things that we can improve. Graduation rates, achievement gaps, those issues aren't going away. We'll continue to work on those. But understand that the core of what you have here in New Hanover is a very good school system. And we need to take that next step to move to being not only the best system in urban areas, but the best system in the state, and then be one that's nationally competitive. Now, to do that, I need to take the fragmentation issue that we talked about earlier and really bring it into a unified approach. We're going to disagree oftentimes on that approach, and that's fine. But as long as we're willing to work together, and once we make a decision, to get behind that decision, I think we can create the best school system here. And then think about this also. Over half the folks who live in this county don't have kids in schools. The percentage of adults without children in schools is getting larger and larger and larger, especially just becomes a retirement community and more folks are moving here. So we've got to make sure we do a good job selling how important those schools are and the good work that we do in those schools to not only the folks who have kids, but to those who don't have kids in our school system. So when that person asks a realtor, which school do I send my kid to? The realtor says, send them to any school in the county. And I really appreciate the work of the chamber and the business community who want to come in and be partners with us.
Great. Well, Tim, we really appreciate you being here this morning. Appreciate the opportunity to ask you questions and speak with you. As a small token of our appreciation, wanted to give you a book called The Bee Eater.
Just finished it.
Familiar with it?
Now, I have the electronic version on my Kindle.
You can download it on your iPad. But I think the relevance, and you'll appreciate this, is that Michelle Ray is the superintendent of the Washington, D.C. school district, took on the nation's worst school district, made great improvements there. As you said, we're certainly not in that category. We have a very good school system, but really look forward to the great work you're going to do. So
Now,
appreciate your time.
In the book, she gets the name Bee Eater because in order to get the attention of her Baltimore students, she ate a live bee.
Maybe next Power Breakfast.
I will not be
we can
eating
do
beets.
that. Let's hear it for Dr. Tim Lockley.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Past, present, future, digital. You live the moment. We'll make it last. Call us at 910-399-1820 or go online at ppfdigital.com.